Michigan Legislative Black Caucus.
Okay, absolutely.
And I want to welcome everyone to our 2024 Black History Month program. And it's fitting to be at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, the first museum of its kind in the nation. I want to thank Dr. Barclay for hosting us, and the museum staff, and everyone who has made this evening possible. Now, much like the Wright, the MLBC has a rich legacy of courageous change makers. While the MLBC was founded in 1976, the presence of Black Michiganders in the legislature began when in 1892 William W. Ferguson broke the legislative racial barrier. Nearly half a century would pass before Black legislative presence was more than one at a time, when in 1941, Senator Charles C. Diggs and Representative Horace A. White served simultaneously. The 1950s saw the first Black women become Michigan legislators, Rep. Charlene White in 1951 and Senator Cora Mae Brown in 1953. And even while being the first, the only, or among the few, leadership roles have not escaped Black lawmakers. In 1969, Representative Matthew McNeely became the first Black person elected Associate Speaker pro tempore and then Speaker pro tempore in 1973. That same year, Senator Coleman A. Young was appointed Minority Floor Leader. In 1975, Senators Jackie Vaughn III and David S. Holmes were the first Black legislators elected to Senate leadership positions, with Vaughn serving as President pro tempore and Holmes the Majority Caucus Leader. Now, by the mid-1970s, the time had come for Black legislative presence and power to coalesce. And in 1976, the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus was formed, with Rex Morris Hood Jr. elected as its first caucus chairman. Now, Michigan legislative family bonds also run deep. In 1983, Representatives Joe Young Sr. and Joe Young Jr. were the first Black father and son to serve simultaneously. And of course, the discussion of the MLBC legacy is incomplete without mentioning an alphabetical order. The Durhalls, the Hoods, the Kilpatricks, the Lemons, the Neelys, the Stalwarts, and relatives of Coleman Young.
Clarence. Don't forget Clarence.
In 1985, Representative Alma Stalwart was the first woman to chair the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus. And that same year, the leadership of Black legislators, including Chairwoman Stalwart, led to establishing in statute the state's Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. In 1997, Rep. Morris Hood Jr. became Michigan's first Black lawmaker to chair the House Appropriations Committee. And that same year, Representative Derek F. Hale was the first Black Michigan legislator to be a Council of State Government Build Fellow. In 1999, when Black membership was in the Michigan legislature was at its height, Senator Virgil Smith and Representative Lonnie Kilpatrick served as Democratic floor leaders in their respective chambers. And the following year, Rep. Kilpatrick became the first Black House Democratic Caucus chair. Now, in 2018, barriers were broken again when Garland Gilchrist III became our first Black Lieutenant Governor. And last year, Representative Joe Tate became the first Black Speaker of the House. Senator Sarah Anthony became the first Black woman to chair the Senate Appropriations Committee. And Senator Erika Geiss, that's me, became the first Black woman elected as the Senate Assistant President. Now, in the nearly half century of the MLBC, remember that day, y'all, its size has ebbed and flowed, but has remained a force focused on legislative power with purpose. During this 102nd legislature, for the first time in Michigan history, the MLBC is doing so while serving in the majority in both chambers. Now, this presents both hope and new challenges. And this moment of serving the trifecta requires of us to not solely fight for what is right and just, but to also govern. Now, the words of James Weldon Johnson offer guidance through managing the hope and challenges before us. Now, we just sang them now. Johnson's lyrics in Lift Every Voice and Sing are the poetic embodiment of our 2024 theme, progressing legacy, acknowledging the past, acting in the present, preparing for the future. And all three verses end with variations on the theme, but especially that of the first verse when we sing a song full of the faith that our past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. And facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. And while we bear the burden, the privilege, and sometimes burden, of doing this work, guided by our collective past, responding to the needs of the present, and with the knowledge that work for the future is continuous, we do it while also balancing a set of various tensions between work and family, going fast versus going forward, purposeful focus versus noisy distractions, coming to policy-making spaces to do versus to just be, getting mired by past challenges versus intentional forward movement, and being physically loud versus maneuvering in calculated silence. Now, Johnson's lyrics of this year's theme remind us that the past, present, and future must exist harmoniously in order to navigate these tensions and achieve progress and march on until victory is won. And now, while it's good and necessary to interrogate and critique what work remains, including persistent insistence that Black Michiganders across the state benefit from the statewide educational and economic advancement opportunities, as well as making sure that we don't lose what ground we have gained. We must also uplift our accomplishments, which this term have already been remarkable. Some highlights. Representative Donovan McKinney was a 2023 CSG Build Institute Fellow, joining the ranks of 15 other current or former Black legislators from Michigan since the program began in 1995. This past December, Senator Anthony and Representative Young were Lawmaker Network Fellows. In August 2023, the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus received the Public Policy Award from the Global African Business Association, GABA, because of our attention to advancing Black Michiganders across the diaspora and linking economic advancement to the continent. Now, 8 MLBC members are chair committees, 6 are vice chairs of one or more. And to date, Black MLBC members in both chambers have collectively had 69 bills signed into law. And those who certainly are not limited to the Crown Act, recognition of Juneteenth as a state holiday, significant juvenile justice reform, expanding land bank eligibility, climate justice and environmental protection, protecting vulnerable Michiganders, and expanding civil rights protections. We're not done yet. And whether working on community and economic advancement, improving education, working to eliminate healthcare disparities, working to reduce community violence, and improve police-community relationships, fundamentally change the criminal justice system, expand civil rights and voting rights, and more, the MLBC has significant influence. And don't let anybody tell you any different. MLBC has also had direct influence on such statewide appropriations as minority-owned business grants, increasing funding to the Department of Civil Rights and the Minority Supplier Council, funding for minority-owned food and agricultural venues, medical debt relief pilot program, and the water affordability program, funding for the Office of Community Violence Prevention, juvenile justice task force advancements, mandatory law enforcement training, the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission, targeted school district relief debt, and paid internships in our legislative offices. We also started a digital MLBC newsletter highlighting the work of the caucus and its members, and we increased information about and access to legislative professional development opportunities. And soon, we will be announcing the appointment of 4 MLBC members to help guide the professional development program focused on governing while Black and legislative spaces that were never designed for us. Now, because of this historic moment serving the trifecta, MLBC is positioned to be at the table, helping shape the menu instead of trying to stay out there. Now, tonight we have a great program honoring some incredible Black leaders and organizations, followed by a powerful fireside chat with Melody Campbell, CEO of the National Black Women's Roundtable, and Reverend Cheryl Durley, moderated by former State Representative Leslie Love. So let us continue to progress legacy by acknowledging the past, acting in the present, and preparing for the future. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the program.